Connected. Channel switched. User joined your channel. User left your channel. User joined your channel. User left your channel. User left your channel. User left your channel. User joined your channel.
No.
User left your channel. 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 Channel switched.
I'll talk.
And we're kind of waiting to get started.
Oh no, where's Modi?
Okay, well, I'll just be waiting, dancing on top of NightRhaven's body. Yep.
That sounds like a decent thing to do.
Are we supposed to ever be at HQ?
User joined your channel.
I have no idea. I just showed up because Knight said that we had to.
Yeah, don't have to be in game. It's really primarily a TeamSpeak thing.
Okay, that clears that up.
It just looks better if we're all sitting around HQ. It looks awesome.
Well,
Except
if you want to, that's absolutely, and he's absolutely right. It's a good thing to see, but it's not required. Just specifically for this meeting, I wanted it to be, as much about the information as possible. But for the record, we'll probably do most all of our meetings like we've done previously, both in game and out. But of course, it'll be easier then because we're all on the same server, so won't be excluding beta folks by having a meeting on the alpha server.
Poor betas.
So I am going to give it a few more minutes. We had 23 approximately RSVPs, and looks like we've got right about 20 here now. So I am going to give it another few minutes, and then we'll get started.
Note to self, make sure you finish the donkey quest before you start building a boat.
Or you can buy a donkey if you're really lazy.
That's kind of the meeting agenda, if you want to check that out. Also, we will do meetings in a couple of different ways. Primarily, the distinction that I'm going to make today is that we have a lot of ground to cover. So rather than open the floor to questions over TeamSpeak or in text during the course of the meeting, if you would,
User joined your channel.
you'll notice that there is the reply ability to that document that has the agenda on it. So if you have questions, if you need to contact one of us directly, that's fine too. But you can just reply or add a comment to the document itself. That way we can move forward. I need to go over a few things, and then each of the division directors will be going over a few things. So rather than keep everyone here too terribly long, and I want everyone to be well rested for beta tomorrow, so we'll try to keep it as brief as possible.
Just so everybody knows, just a heads up, my account did get hacked in the past 24 hours. So I contacted Tryon, got it all figured out. I got everything figured out to get it corrected and all that. So just a heads up, I would highly suggest using the Rift Authenticator and make sure that your passwords are as complicated as you can make them while you still remember them.
Well, if Xana's experience is anything to go by, and it's just alpha, I might be willing to let them hack my account if I would come back to 3,000 gold.
Yeah,
3,000 gold?
Instantly,
Yep.
before they even escalate the ticket to the next level, they give you 2 gold for each level that you have for across all your characters.
Yeah, but his account was hacked, and I would guess either it was used for a bank or by a gold seller, because he said he got his account sorted out, logged in, and there was a mail that he got not 15 minutes before he logged in that was sent to him with 3,000 gold.
I don't
Health lift
understand
for
why
everyone.
people are buying gold in alpha.
I think because some of them are a little bit crazy.
That and for the fact that everybody, when they start playing a game, they think that's gonna last forever, and people don't realize, people aren't paying attention that it's just alpha and it's gonna not matter come 3 months from now. And everyone's always, I mean, there's always people willing to pay real life money to give themselves a little edge in a game.
I am above sitting in chairs.
Yeah, you are. I prefer dancing on chairs with people still sitting on them.
Okay, so if one of you guys could watch the lobby just in case somebody new logs on or needs the new TeamSpeak info, but we're going to go ahead and get started. I like to be prompt. So, as some of you know, we've been through some changes. People have experimented with, and we have experimented with different officer roles and different structures for the guild for optimal efficiency. So the introduction section is just to clarify who is doing what, and I'll kind of give you the lowdown briefly for anyone who's new. Obviously, I'm Hawking and I'm the senior director, which means that I just basically kind of look at overall, and I'm very much about the structure and helping lay things out and give everyone all the information that they need and keep some of that stuff together. Brand is your trade director, so he handles all things trade. And then each of the division directors, so Knight also, will have an advisor who is an officer rank. However, they are sort of the ranking officer, and to the best of their ability would be able to fill in for a director if they have to go on vacation or have to work overtime that week. So the advisor position is designed to work very, very closely with the director and sort of be their right hand and just give them miscellaneous help in whatever area. We currently do not have a security advisor, one of the positions that we do have open, but we'll discuss that as we go on. So, next thing is overall communications and how we communicate. One of the things that I want to point out is that we have no in-game way to communicate. There is no way for me to set a message of the day. So, short of only speaking to the people who happen to be on when I'm on, the only way for us to get information out is either through TeamSpeak or the website. So it's really important that even if we take breaks and even if we're inactive, that we at least check in regularly and watch for those announcements and news updates so that we can keep you guys up to date. So we'll start with TeamSpeak, and I know the general protocols are sometimes vague, and we will attempt to, as we go, refine it so that it's a little clearer. But when I say general protocols, that's really just etiquette. And what's important to us, as we just established, is that TeamSpeak is a very important tool. And to myself and a couple of others, it is our primary tool. We would much rather use TeamSpeak than just about any other way to keep in touch. And it allows us who are active, which is most of your director and officer team, to do regular updates. We don't have to have meetings like this once a week so much because we keep up with each other on an ongoing basis. That said, what we want is a friendly environment for TeamSpeak. We don't want those few people who are on the fence or maybe even don't like TeamSpeak, because we've all been in those environments. It's loud, people talk over one another, it gets a little raucous. I don't want to quash anyone's fun. However, that's what TeamSpeak is for, is it's a tool. And while it's also a tool for socializing, there will be areas set up for that, and that kind of leads me to the next thing. So we will always try to document stuff. So please, if we move channels around, as you can tell, if you click on a channel, it gives you a description. So if you look at the water cooler and the workshop, for examples, the water cooler is for generally game-related topics, probably mostly Arcade, but really sort of related to gaming. But a place where you can, that's kind of the landing place, the landing place. That's where we all start off before we might break off into various activities. So that is a channel that it is important to me to maintain some order and, avoid the horseplay so much. You can talk about other things, but just try to keep it to a minimum. The workshop is for working. So if you, like me, sometimes you are in TeamSpeak and you want to be available and you're sitting at your desk, but you're working, whether it's on the website or on farming, that it's a place that's kind of a quiet room, and it's not a place to bring off topic. It's not a place to bring build discussion. This is really specifically to farming, crafting tasks, and other sort of work-related issues. So we've redesigned the couple for you. Break room is kind of the semi-AFK. I get it. I'm terrible about it, and I appreciate reminders also. If you're going to go AFK for other than just a second or a quick second, I really recommend that you use that. So that's saying
User was moved to your channel.
I'm generally here, but I may not be sitting at my desk at this particular time. That applies to me a lot of the time. My desk is in my living room. I like to be available just in case something comes up or people need me. So if you see me in that channel, you're welcome to send me a text, or I'm going to respond immediately. Because even in an emergency, I want to be in TeamSpeak. So even if I'm saying do not disturb, if we have a break-in or somebody's trying to steal our tractor or any of those sorts of things, your directors need to be reachable. So unless it's an emergency or something really, really urgent, please respect the out of office, especially for directors and officers, as we try to be available as much as possible. And it's important that we scale, our activities, so appropriately. So if you ever need to discuss with something with any of us, whether you're contacting us via TeamSpeak or website, please try to include something about what it's about. So for example, when I contact another director, I will always say not important. Maybe we can come up with RP workplace, like Outlook or something, so that we know, hey, this is important, I need you to get with me ASAP, versus, tomorrow is fine, right? We want that to be clear, and include just a little bit, hey, I had a question about, or so-and-so had a question about, or we need to get somebody signed up for TeamSpeak, whatever the case may be, just a short word or two about what the topic is so that we know the appropriate response. So then you have your expedition channels, which I think are pretty self-explanatory, but I just want to expand on making TeamSpeak cohesive. We don't have a whole lot of people on right now, but during our peak period during alpha, we did, and we had 60, between 60 and 70, I think, concurrent users. And that's when it became very important, and it was very useful to have our channel set up so that we had task appropriate rooms. I love, and we all do to some degree, the chance to do things like this where we're all together. We are all one team, and that's something that we want to foster, but obviously it's clear that we need those breakdowns. So for example, if it's two of you and you're fighting with each other, or grouped, or dueling to test your builds, please take it to one of those channels. Don't talk over people in really any of the other channels with something specific to a two-person activity. So just be respectful of that. If you have suggestions or we need to expand the number of rooms, we're happy to do that so that we have enough space for everyone to do what they need to do. Off topic, I just wanted to make that clear that doesn't mean that you can say whatever you want in there. The company charter always applies in every channel all the time, but that's a place where you can sing, really talk about other things not so game related, card games or science fiction books or whatever it is you want to discuss. So that's what that channel is designated for. Last thing on TeamSpeak is the icons, which you can see are associated with your name. Please use those and make sure that yours stay updated if you change your proficiency or change your build. I think that they will be very useful. It's useful information for us at launch and while we're gaming to see who plays what role and who can craft stuff for us. So along with your website profile, obviously, please try to make sure that those stay current.
And if anyone has an issue of not being able to give themselves an icon, please let NightRhaven know so I can edit it in the permissions.
So, website. I hope you're all sitting down. As some of you know and some of you may not, I am a rank amateur web designer. I don't do the back end. I can teach myself, but it's not my forte. I am good at designing the front end and where information goes and how to make it work together. But I struggled with how to best move us forward. Our website needs to be a tool. It needs to function well, and it needs to, I love to use these RP work terms, it needs to be a robust system, and at the same time, it needs to be manageable. I and the other directors and officers shouldn't have to spend that much time on the website as opposed to in-game and playing. So our attempt all along has been to create the best possible tool that requires the least amount of maintenance. And there was a point in there where we thought we had a very good balance. Unfortunately, some of the quirks that I initially discovered with WordPress are a little more impactful than I would like for them to be. So, as I said, I hope you're sitting down. The chances are good that we will be migrating once again. I want to stress that this is alpha and this is testing, and it's not just testing. I really want to stress this. It's not just testing being in-game and farming and planting stuff. It's testing us and our systems and how we communicate and the website and all that, so that when we get it in place, it's right and it will serve us in the long term, so that at launch, when it's a crucial time period for us, that we're not bottlenecked by a recruiting process or a website outage or any of those sorts of things. So I have mixed feelings about Engine. I just want to put that out there. However, one of the upsides to it, especially during a critical time like that, is that there may be downtime, though it seems to be rare. And if it does go down, that doesn't require one of us to spend hours and hours trying to track down what the issue is. That means that the site goes down for a half a day, and Engine fixes it, and it comes right back up and becomes our tool again. So please be watching for that. I apologize. We apologize for multiple signups. There has been some transition, but ultimately what we want to do for everyone is have the best answer. That's kind of what we're doing with Grey Moon, is we want those spreadsheets, we want those guides. We are kind of micromanaging ourselves. I don't want any individual hawking to micromanage anything, because it doesn't help. But to some degree or another, that's what this game is about, is a micromanaging of your systems, your resources, and our people. So that's unfortunate, but I think that one of the things that we are trying to do is make it mirror as much as possible the current website, so it won't be a terribly jarring experience. And the upside is that most anyone can admin Engine, and most people, or a lot of people, already know it and know the functions, so it shouldn't be a huge deal. So we appreciate your patience with that, and we'll put an update out soon. Ultimately, just as a side note, Bailey's is new, but she is a WordPress person, and what we've discussed is having our domain point to the Engine site to get us through the launch period, and then we will leave the existing site somewhat in place, and We have WordPress 4.0 coming out, which could have a big impact on the site because of its interaction with BuddyPress, and we want to avoid catastrophe. She and I will probably continue to work on the existing site, and we may move back to it at some, we're talking 6 months down the road, maybe a year from now, so we may even come back to it if we can make it as functional as the engine, or at least approximate that. So, sorry that went a little longer on that than I meant to. Profile, please keep it current. Whatever version we have, it will be there, and it's really important for us, just like the TeamSpeak icons. That's why we want that info there, right? That's what you want to know about someone at a glance, and I wish that these systems were built into an in-game guild management, but it stinks in ArcAge. Even in compared to many other current games, it's an atrocious guild management system. It just is. So that makes the website and our profiles more important than ever before. Please keep up with some of the bureaucracy and admin. It helps us all. Events, again, bureaucracy, it really helps us when we get the literal RSVP so that we know approximately what to expect. That will tell us whether we need more directors or officers involved, like for example, if there's an RP event and every officer and director is on board and we see that there's only going to be, a few people, then we'll want to all be there. If a bunch of people plan to turn out and help, then that one director who kind of wanted the night off could take the night off. So that's just an example of how it allows us to shape things and also gives us good information. So please always check your calendar and always RSVP if you plan to attend. If it's a maybe, go ahead and RSVP. Better to err on the side of showing up and not make it than to not RSVP at all. So, moving on, management positions. We do have a few. The ones I'm going to cover are specific to what we refer to as operations. Operations used to be its own division, but you can see that we really wouldn't have general members in the operations category. So now we have two. Trade and security, one or the other. So our operations team is actually nested within the trade division, and the operations team at this point consists of primarily Drax and I. I'm not sure what Arian's status is, but hopefully she'll be returning soon in some capacity within operations. So the positions that we're going to go over are operations-based positions, and these are kind of the priority for right now. So recruiting officer, we're wanting 2 of those. If you look at the website, of course, I'm trying to flesh those things out, make sure they have the information that you need about the position. If you have any feedback on that, again, please provide it in the reply area of the meeting. But we want you to know what it means to be that role, how much of a commitment you're going to have to make, and what the expectations are. So recruiting would be keeping up with our posts and helping to recruit both in-game and out, and doing orientation, which we do with every member when possible, though we're going to go over another feature of that, the job fair, which is coming up soon. PR officer would basically do social, Facebook and Twitter and all that stuff that the kids are doing. And then graphic artist, and the caveat there is we're looking for obviously somebody with good art skills where they will be, like original artwork, as opposed to, some of the manipulation of existing art, etc. So keep those things in mind. If you want to discuss any of those positions, you should see myself or Drax. So zoning committee. This is all about our launch plans, and we want to kind of focus and make sure that everyone understands what our plans are. It was noted that somebody thinks that there is now a 1.01 or 1% chance for any tree anywhere to be struck by lightning, and that location no longer affects thunderstruck tree chances. Is there anyone who can confirm or offer any more on that? Okay, I will, and or Knight on the security team We will look into that a little more, and the reason that that would affect us is because then rather than trying to get island land, we can focus all of our attentions to the HQ area. So that's going to be an important consideration. So we had basically 3 land grab groups. One would be for the HQ area, one would be for an island, basically only to farm Thunderstruck, just trees on that island all the time. The last would be Aurora, because the Aurorian spring water that you need to grow Archeum trees is located only in Aurora. You used to be able to buy it from certain areas, but you can't any longer. So again, there would be land and people associated with Aurora that would farm only Archeum trees. That's all they would do up there. If they want to fill in around with other things, but that is the primary focus of that group, is to set up Archeum farming. It will be important even if they adjust the rate. Those sorts of things are, like Thunderstruck trees, probably the other thing that makes the game go. It's I either need Archeum or I need Thunderstruck. That covers most of the stuff that we're looking for. So, staff participation.
User joined your channel.
One of our primary premises in the way we're trying to do things is that short of being an officer or director, we don't require you to do anything. And that's heartfelt. We want you to know that if we have a preference and you choose to do your own thing, there will never be hard feelings about that, 100%. That said, the more people we get at the outset, for those of us who participated in the alpha, we learned some very, very valuable lessons about reaching a sort of critical mass with our organization, and that involves getting the workstations, the craft tables, and a building that sort of acted as both a symbol as well as a literal sort of hub for us, and it allowed us to really work together and pitch in. And once we reach that critical mass, it becomes very easy for us to as we've done in beta, be able to just hand stuff out. At this point, if somebody starts on the beta character and they want to do their trade pack quest, they don't need to grow anything on it. We've got all that stuff. We've reached critical mass for those materials. And we only reach that critical mass quickly if we all participate and do our best to be flexible at launch about specific things. One of those things, really that being your small farm and your first cottage. Those things, please don't get attached to them. Just as a note, I believe that one of the Korean versions, they do away with the small crows because of the land shortage. They do away with them entirely. But even that said, those are both things that further down the road, if for the new folks especially, they're trivial. To be able to get the materials for those things it doesn't mean anything. It's the land that's important to us. So when we do this land grab, we will have a group or an icon or a tag or however else we're going to do it, a list. Anyone who plans to make not that we want to use your farm or your cottage, what we want is for you to say, I agree to let you put it where you want to put it at the outset. How we sort that out further down the road is going to depend on what you want. We would like for our HQ to be laid out the way an HQ would be. And for example, that would mean that we would have a section dedicated to all of the security people who will be basically donating their crows, right? They have no interest in crafting at all, and they're saying, here's my small farm, it's open to guild, use it. We will put those things in a specific area so that we can then, instead of having a little fence around a small farm plot, we put them all together and put one big fence around it and then break it down, and we can use it for animal pens or specific crop types, so that we have zones the same way they do in-game. We would have an area for player housing. I would like to see player housing, for example, consist of your cottage and your scarecrow garden if you want that near you. That way you have something close to your house that's a little more ornamental but doesn't take up so much space. Then I would like to see all of our large crows in our farm area, right? So all of our large pros are lined up, and we can try to do it and plan it so that if your small house is in a specific area, then there would be a farm stripe, or two dedicated to the area that you're in so that you don't have to travel too far. We'll definitely keep that in mind. But you can see the overall vision is to have an actual little compound that is both functional, and that includes a tractor being able to make its way amongst all of our plots. So if you can be flexible, we really would appreciate it if you would join that team and help us out with that initial setup. Again, at launch, we're going to try and be a lot more serious and a lot more precise about the way we do it. And then in the long term, keep in mind that there's a lot of zones that will open down the road, and we're going to have a lot of flexibility for housing. Your personal house, you could put anywhere. You may even want to get a mansion and a mansion only zone at some point in the future. But our trade hub is again, it's the heart of what we do, and it's the function that we need desperately. And the sooner we get that going, the sooner we pull out ahead of the other guilds who maybe lack some of the structure and organization that we have. And that's exactly what we want. Just like with that initial rush when the beta comes up, we want to get just ahead of the pack because that allows us to get our momentum, and then we never really fall behind, like if you played Mario Kart, you know what I mean? So that kind of covers the participation in company goals. For any of you who missed it, there's going to be a new mansion type added. So what we've established we can go into more depth if you need more of the information or want it, but based on the number of buffs you can have in a house, our plan initially for launch is to push immediately to get a mansion. And it's expensive, yes, and it's a lot of materials, yes, but that allows us to put all of the craft things that we need in one hub. It's the trade plaza, and it's really, really helpful that because our crafts are interdependent on one another, if we're running from building to building, it's inefficient. If we're all in one place and your alchemy and the person across the room from you is doing metalworking and they need something from you, you're right there. So that's one of the main things that we're going to be pushing for before just about anything else other than ships. As we need to do trade runs and that sort of thing. So the new HQ type mansion is awesome looking. I shared it on the feed earlier. I'm not sure if I uploaded it, but I will if you want to check it out. It's very much in the style of the Fellowship Plaza, blue roof. It's really, really cool looking, both inside and out. So also on that note, talking about the housing, our long-term goals, we do plan to have a castle at some point on the northern continent. Again, we want our supply chain and productivity to be in place before we commit. I would rather, maybe once or twice to experiment with little investment, but you understand that one of the functions of that is once you claim that area, you can then build housing. You can build your cottage or medium-sized house or your crow there inside the castle walls, but if you lose the castle, then you lose all the work you've done. I don't really want to take that risk. I want us to get to the point where we're a good contender for the server and take one of those castles and keep it. So future branches. That's kind of what I would consider Aurora, and having a castle up there would be basically the PvP branch. As other zones open up in the game, or we make footholds in other places, then if you're looking to not be, here's an example for you, if you're looking to not be with the rest of the crowd and there's a zone that you specifically have your heart set on as far as making yourself a home there, communicate with us about it, because we can then put anyone who's in, say, Gwynedd Forest, we can connect you guys and make sure that you grab a little spot, and then that way we can actually have anything from a branch to a small outpost in many locations. So, keep that in mind as far as what your goals are and, what we're trying to do as a group, and we'll find a spot for everyone. So that goes to the teamwork on the real estate and the materials. The being flexible about your crow, and especially the materials. What we will have for anyone who's missed it is specific people designated as much as possible. Give those materials to the person. Collect everything. Doesn't even matter what it is. Don't let your labor points sit there. Even if you're security, gather everything, and then be flexible at the very outset about getting our key crafters higher in their level. So what that requires is that we sacrifice our personal stuff right at the beginning to get those key people, Korara and Empi being an example. They've been with us from the beginning, so you can trust that when we say yes, our official representative for all alchemy stuff is X. Send your stuff to them. They're not going anywhere, and you know that they will be there. And how it worked on Alpha was like this: I need something oil. Got it. They're on the way. Or do you want to pick them up? That's the way Alpha went for us. All of our teams functioned really well together, and there was, other than Thunderstruck and a few of the more rarer, like some beehives and stuff like that, we really didn't want for anything. No one did. We had everyone just, I've got 5, they've got 4, and somebody else has 1, so there's the 10 that you need.
User
We could
joined your channel.
always put it together, and it was really a very awesome experience, just because of how to watch the guild chat go by, where people were swapping off and trading. That's what we like. If you have extra potions from a run you did, don't sell them to guild members. Say, I have these potions, but I spent all of my gold on the mats to make those potions. Could somebody help me out with some gold? We really don't want to sell to each other. We're not mercenaries in that fashion. If you need gold, we will always do what we can to pitch in. And if you have something to spare, offer it to us first. If you don't get any takers, put it up on the auction house. But materials are what makes this game go, and they always have a function or a purpose, whether it's bundling them in groups and then selling them on the auction house to then buy the things that we do need, or for people who are going to craft those things in the future, whether it's the cooks or, handicrafting or whatever that case may be. So, trying to move along. Hey, half hour, that's not so bad. We are going to do some giveaways. Is there anyone here who is not able to play in beta? Type or talk, either one. Anyone? Everyone has a key? Well, that's good. So, on that note, we were awarded by Scapes 5 closed beta 2 keys. So, before we take any other steps, if you have a real-life friend or partner in crime or whatever the case may be that you would like to get a beta key to, we do have a limited number. Send me a message, preferably in TeamSpeak. Just send me a quick private message. Otherwise, I'm probably just going to go to the RP site first and see if anyone there needs keys. Please don't take them for just the sake of taking them. We really want them to go to people who will value them and enjoy playing the game. We will be doing a couple of other giveaways. Knight has donated some miscellaneous Steam and Origin keys. We haven't worked out the exact process or ongoing events and stuff like that, but if you are interested in running events, if you like doing RP events or contests or things like that, again, get with Drax and I, and we'll probably be adding that maybe to the PR role, but we might just have a specific events coordinator to help us keep the calendar together and organized and all that sort of thing. We are going to be doing more heavy recruiting, starting with this particular beta event. We're going to be doing a job fair. If you see, it's on the calendar. It is not TeamSpeak required. It is an RP event. It is primarily for us to recruit visibly in-game as a group. So while not a mandatory meeting like this, we strongly encourage you to please come and just represent the guild. So what we'll be doing is we'll be announcing it on the forums and in-game once the beta's up, and then we will set a time. We'll meet at Royster's camp, or maybe a few of us will meet at Royster's camp, and we'll make that the location that we send people in-game. Once the time period hits and we say, okay, we've given a little extra time for the stragglers, then we'll move down to our HQ area, where hopefully as many of us are possible are there to help people, give them your feedback about how we function, answer questions for them. I would also like to consider doing some sort of in-game giveaway where we craft some trade pack prizes or whatever else we can come up with in the first day or two of beta, that would just sort of lend itself to the RP spirit of that. So the security director, he's going to have some other information for you, and then he'll turn it over to Brand. So I very much appreciate you guys all making it. It was a good turnout, all things considered. So thanks for coming, and we'll do a closing at the end too after we make sure we have everything covered. So turning it over tonight.
All right. I don't know if any of or all of you have met me. NightRhaven. I'm planning to be a healer, and I run our security division, which contains our raiders, our guardians that will be protecting our trade runs, and our dragoons. If anyone is interested, I currently have 2 positions open for officers. One of them being my advisor, so you would be second to me in helping me out with all the work I do, website, TeamSpeak, stuff like that. And the Dragoon officer, which is you would lead the PvP division, like world PvP, defending the castle, that kind of deal. You can find those under open positions on the website. It's related more to raiding. I am hoping to get some dungeon guides up eventually, which would be like currently right now just what level, what quests you can do in them, and where they are. Eventually, I want to branch out and actually have written guides and maybe even voiceover videos for those. One of the main teams with security is the Guardian team. That's kind of going to be my baby team that I'm going to baby it a lot of the time. They're guarding the trade, so we need to try and help anyone in the Guardians get geared up, level faster, because they're going to be protecting our assets as we travel across to get Guild of Stars to better the guild with equipment and our houses and such. And last but not least, within the next couple days here, we hope to have a PayPal donation button somewhere up on the website or just even a notice somewhere. You don't have to. We're not forcing you to donate, but anything you do will help the guild. It'll help pay for our TeamSpeak, website, anything that's left over. We could buy more Steam cards, stuff like that, just extra stuff to give away to help out the guild. Giveaways make it more fun. And I think that's everything from me. Brand, what do you got?
What do I got? Well, hello everybody. My name is Brandolin. I'm going through sort of an identity crisis at the moment. My name at launch will probably be either Brand or Brandolin. It is really going to be a roll of the dice. So if you see either of those, it will probably be me. I am the trade director for Grey Moon Trading Company. And what that means is that I am ultimately responsible for everything that includes crafting, that includes making money for the guild and for its members. Everything from organizing trade runs, doing the actual work end of it rather than the security end of it, as well as just the overall day-to-day operations of the trade end of the guild. So one thing I like about, I'm just going to tell you a little bit about me. One thing I like about Grey Moon Trade Company is that it operates very similarly to a group I used to play with for years in a game called EVE Online. And if you know EVE Online, or if you don't, it's often nicknamed Spreadsheets Online, and that's because there is so much underlying data to the game that you could literally play the game without ever logging in, and you would actually accomplish things, especially if you're working with a team. And GTC kind of stands for the same thing. It stands for working as a team, as a large group of people who all have the same goal. But I wanted to make it very clear. The trade division's goal is twofold. There's only two goals, really, at the end of the day. The first goal is to make the guild, the trade company, as filthy rich as possible, and world domination if we have time. The second goal is to make each and every one of you guys, its members, also filthy rich, rolling in dough. Like, that's it. Okay, we want to have fun doing it, but those are our goals. And I'm going to tell you over the course of tonight and the next couple weeks and at launch how we're going to get there. I took a few notes as I was listening of things that sparked in my ear that I wanted to address before I give introductions. Um, the first thing was, or this is just a phrase that I feel is very true. So Hawking mentioned that we are not, if you're not an officer, you're not a director, you're a rank and file member, you're not a guild dedicated crafter, you're just a guy or a girl playing a game and you're having fun. That's cool, and we support that. But if you don't have to do anything, I only have to go by what you do, what you actually do. And that speaks less towards obeying rules and being good little girls and boys, and speaks a lot more to what you do to help out the guild. So, there's a wide range of what someone can do. It could be as simple as hearing something in someone's voice that's in the guild going, I know something's bothering them, shooting them a tell, hey, is everything okay? That simple amount of human care can absolutely make a guild go from a ho-hum, pretty decent guild to like the best guild in the game, period, pens down, done writing. You know what I'm saying? And and it could be as little as, hey, I just accidentally crafted the wrong thing. Okay, so instead of trying to nickel and dime the auction house, how about you just type in guild chat, hey, does anybody need any of this stuff? I mean, I'm not saying you have to do that. I'm certainly not saying that. But the directors and officers are very sharp people, and they will notice, who is really giving their all, giving their heart to the guild. And I promise you that I will give my heart back to you twofold. You will get 200% of my heart, and all you have to give is a little bit of heart, and that's all I ever ask. The next thing I heard, I believe it was Hawk say, he said, if such and such and such happens, communicate with us and such and such. And that right there, communicate with us, should be like emboldened and on a neon blinking sign. Because if we do not know there is a problem, we can do nothing about it. If we do not hear about a situation, if it gets ugly, and we are not made aware of it, it's extraordinarily hard to run a guild without having that communicate with us, come to us. None of us are rude people. Well, I am, but most of us are not rude people, and so we will, pull you aside and say, "What's up? How can I help?" And that goes on a game level. It's a little bit on a personal level. We're all people. That's one thing that Hawking likes to stress is, we are a group of people. We're going to have personal issues. I don't want to hear about what you think of the latest episode of General Hospital, but at the same time, if you're having a problem and you just need somebody to vent on, I'm here. I'm really open. I'm a very outgoing person. I would love to talk to you if that's what you need. Otherwise, I'm here to help you in the game, whatever. So, but communicate with us is ultra important. The last thing, actually, I'm going to skip the last thing until a little bit later. So let me move on to introductions real quick. You know me, my name's Brandolin. My history in MMOs is insane. I have played every single MMO that has been in existence at one time or another. My main two MMOs have been World of Warcraft, Snore, and EVE Online. Excitement. But when you almost lose your marriage to a game, you know that maybe it's not the one for you. Arcade I see as being a very tame version of EVE Online, so it allows me to play the metagame and not crumble personal relationships. My second in command, also known as a trade advisor, is Kalli. Kalli, say hi.
Hi.
She is essentially me. She's probably a much better looking version of me, but she is me. So if she says something to you, just kind of pretend like I said it. And if she asks you for some help, just kind of pretend like I asked you for some help. If I'm not around, her main duty and job responsibility is to be me if I am not around. So the most important part of that is just that everybody has the understanding that she is me. I have one officer currently, and his name is Modi. Modi, say hi.
Hello, everyone.
Modi is our oh geez, blanking, provisioners officer. Thank you very much. So he's going to take care of making sure that everybody has their provisions, all their saucy meats and yummy juices and things, and he can go over more specifically on the forums later what that's all about if he wants to. But that drags me into my recruitment statement. I am looking for currently two
User
officer
joined your channel.
positions. Those positions are the outfitters officer and the engineers officer. What these officers do is they manage administratively the people inside their groups. So I would pull Modi aside and say, these guys that are all listed as provisioners, I don't even know who they are. They've never logged into TeamSpeak. I've never seen them in game. I don't see them active on the forums. Can you reach out to them and figure out what the deal is? I'm going to shop that out to him. I'm also going to rely on Modi for provisioner related guides, provisioner related tips and tricks and strategies that we will go into using as guild wide strategies going forward. So if you feel like you're pretty darn knowledgeable about either the outfitter classes or proficiencies or the engineer proficiencies, absolutely come to me, let me know, and I'll set up a little meeting. And that's that. So moving on to the next thing. I am not a religious person, and I humbly apologize if this bothers anybody, but I have a trade Bible. I named it intentionally the Trade Doctrine so we wouldn't upset anybody. It is essentially a document that I will live, breathe, and live also by. It is on version 0.002 at the moment, and that for anybody who's a computer programmer means it's extraordinarily new and extraordinarily fluid right now. I'm hammering down a lot of things. I'm going to briefly go over it because it's very important because it includes a lot of things about how we're going to operate, what we're going to do. The whole idea again is world domination, making us filthy rich, making you filthy rich. In order to do that, everybody has to work in concert, really. And we have phases that I've kind of defined. Phase 1 being land grab. We're talking about like head start or launch day 1. We've got the land grab phase, and Hawking spoke about that a lot. I just put some key points here. Key points are achieving level 10 as quickly as humanly possible. We've got that down to something like 50 minutes if you're on the ball. And so it really shouldn't, it should be like top priority for everyone, really. Completing vocation quests, that just gets you to your farm a lot faster. And attaining and placing a small farm and house at our HQ area. Phase 2, once we kind of do that, is going to be essentially it's going to last about 2 or 3 days ish. The goals there are to build a clipper. If we end up, that people want to forego spending their guild on a house to go straight for a clipper, that's perfectly fine. Go for it. We would love you to, and that's something that we could absolutely use as the guild. We're going to scout unsafe zones. We're going to kind of get the trade route thing going so that we can start doing that. We're going to achieve as many personal character levels as possible. I cannot stress enough and you don't have to be a security guy or a PvE magician to know that levels in this game are huge. Gear is important too, but levels, essentially, if you have 10 level 50s on a boat and you're up against 10 level 30s, it's going to be, easy mode. We're going to create and trade as many packs as we can via intercontinental runs, and all that gilda we're going to try to funnel right to me, because that first 1,000 gilda we spend is on that trade HQ. Once we can get 1,000 gilda in my pockets and we get that trade HQ planted, we have a tremendously huge advantage over all the other guilds. They're not going to be working in concert. They're not going to be as organized and as I just don't think they're going to do it as good as us. And we've already got a really solid plan. We got a lot of really good people. Honestly, I've met a lot of you, been able to speak to you in open chat and also in public private talks, and I really genuinely like you people. It's sickening. Also, we're going to begin to supply what we can to members to complete trade pack quests. And that basically means getting you all your donkeys and getting you all ready to do the intercontinental stuff. Phase 3 is called Adjust or Adjustment. It's essentially kind of phasing out of the rush aspect and phasing more into the, okay, settle down, get things where they need to be. The points I named for this are: we needed a well-executed space management of HQ area. That means we're not doing what we did in beta, which is, I like my house here. I like my house right next to here. The problem with that is we then lose out on a lot of space. So Hawking and his group and some of the people he wants to hire, those guys or girls will be like prime people to plan that out, but it's really important that we do that well executed. 2, keep up the trade runs as often as possible, all day, every day. Assisting members with creation of personal ships, farms, and houses. Once we get established what we need to as a guild, we'll then start to funnel those resources back out to you guys. We need to push to get designated guild crafters to 10,000 proficiency, and I'll go over guild crafters in just a moment. That's phase 3. Phase 4 is expand and equip. Once we've kind of got the trade run thing going on, I expect that to happen within the first week, to be honest with you, well within the first week. And I think we're going to have such a jump on everybody else that we're going to basically be able to just, swim in our gilda. Hopefully, that's my plan anyway. In expand and equip phase 4, we're going to expand into aqua farms. We're going to look at expanding other regions, such as arid, etc., for growing other plants. That's going to be farms only. We're not putting houses there or anything like that. It's just for strategic locations. We're going to build a guild farm vehicle so that we're moving that stuff around a lot faster, especially when it means getting to the water or getting to something we're building somewhere else, etc. We're also going to focus in phase 4 in equipping the elite guard units with as much weaponry and armor as possible. Our elite guards we are their sugar daddies, and we need to make sure that they feel as though they're being taken care of. Okay, they are everything to us. Without them, we are nothing. And so what we as trade people need to do, but also security people, we need to look out for them and make sure that they are prepared to do their job. And that's going to really last us until the end of our launch plans, per se. We also have a little bonus goals that I wanted to put in, and they can kind of be sprinkled about, but they should kind of be low priority. Level 20 or higher Eastern alts. I think this is a fantastic idea. Go when there's downtime or you're just bored of seeing the same animals all over again. Go play on the Eastern side. Get yourself 20 or higher level Eastern alt. They are going to be used for scouting and future potential of trade swapping, which is dropping it somewhere really far out in the middle of nowhere and having that alt get it and then walk it right up to the person and get your resources or your gold or whatever. The purchase of non-GTC land in GTC HQ area. So the idea is to place that there will be other people who live in our area. We can buy them out. That's one of the plans. Eventual conversion of priority from Gilda to Gold, so that once we have that HQ, we really don't need the massive amounts of Gilda anymore, and we're going to move our priority into making Gold. And this allows us to be able to have a lot more versatility. We can just buy a boat. We don't have to get the gilda. We don't have to get the packs and do all that messy stuff. We just straight up pimping it. Hey, have some gold. Thank you for your boat. Have a nice day. We're also going to create kind of what Hawking was touching on earlier about being all in one area, an assembly line style crafting within the guild, so that really we're working as a team and we have like these people doing this, these people doing that, and these people doing that. And if we work efficiently, we'll be able to produce items at a speed and at a price which nobody will be able to beat, and we'll just get stupidly rich. Cars. Okay, that's kind of a silly one. Cars are obviously a very far, long off goal. But honestly, I would love to see a fleet of GTC cars rolling down the street. Again, pimpin' hardcore. That's all I have for that. Now, I want to touch on the guild crafters. I want to make it clear, guild crafters are not favorites. We're not playing favorites. We're not saying you're the only one who can do a tailoring. We're not saying that you are somehow better than the other tailors. We absolutely want everybody, especially the trade members, to do any kind of crafting they want. But in interests of accelerating our proficiencies and also accelerating our plans, we need to dedicate people who are going to be around and active, who can sort of take the place of a certain proficiency and always be there, not all the time, but relatively active, so that I can grab them and say, for instance, Carrara is the one everybody keeps saying. He is the alchemy dedicated crafter. So I'm going to be able to grab Carrara, and I'm just going to know that he's pretty close to 10k. You know, I don't have to go like, well, hey person, what are you at alchemy? So we also need proficiency dedicated crafter backups, and we're kind of looking at the possibility of having a third backup. So it's really important that you take a look at Kalli's post about the roll call and you get as much information to us as possible, and we'll be reaching out to you guys as to what we want to do as far as those dedicated crafters. Just to wrap it up, I cut it up all the time. I am a class clown. I will probably break the rules accidentally when it comes to saying naughty words. That's not because I think that it's good to break the rules. I am an extraordinarily straightforward, business-like person when it comes to the rules. Having said that, I am a chuckle face. I just like to joke around and be mean to people. It's just because I love you. It's not really because I'm mean, just so you know, for those who I've been mean to. And so probably don't use me as an example. Hawking's a much better example as far as that. But I want you to know that I genuinely have GTC's best interest at heart, but that's only the left half of the heart. On the right half of the heart, I really honestly want us all to be just stinking rich, to where we can enjoy the game and we have literally a fleet of those awesome pleasure yachts in the water. I mean, how cool would that be? So I hope you honestly are having a great time already with the game. I hope you're excited for launch. I'm super, super excited for what we can do. And just want to thank you a lot for listening to me ramble on.
Somebody who talks more than me, what do you guys think about that? Actually, don't start. Especially you, Core. I know what you're going to chime in with. Anyway, I appreciate you guys being patient. We actually, I had planned on about an hour, and we're pretty close to that mark. Brian, did I miss you mentioning the contest yet? Did you get that in there?
No, I thank you for reminding me. Pretty awesome. If you are voted by the directors and officers as being the most helpful, that's the only word I'm going to give you. I'm not going to give you too many details as to what that means. You have to interpret it on your own. But if you are voted by the directors and officers as being the most helpful person during our launch period, which is all 4 days of Head Start, probably a good week or 2 or 3 of launch, so you have a lot of time to be helpful. If you're voted as that most helpful person, you will receive a brand new in the box Razer gaming mouse, approximate retail value $80. So pretty awesome prize. That is from me on behalf of Gray Moon Trading Company, and it's just sort of a giant fireworks display to sort of kick off our awesomeness. So I hope you all participate.
So what I would like to tie that into is, we have up there on the website now Employee of the Month. That's something that we will continue to do moving forward every month, starting now. So even between now and launch, we will have one every month that will include, I'm going to say at this point it's going to include a gold purse. So we'll give them gold, we'll set the amount, but it could also include other prizes or awards. So what I would like to propose is that we make the mouse that you're referring to, we make that the 1 month based on when launch starts. So even if
Sure.
it's part of a month or whatever. So for clarification, just so you guys are with me, so there's a nomination form up now that you can only access. It's not a link on the page. There's no button for it other than in that news article. If you read the news article, then you can click on the form to nominate someone. We encourage you to give as much feedback to those of you who did nominate. Again, it doesn't apply to officers or directors, though it may even change that and maybe just forego the reward if somebody deserves recognition. But we would prefer it to be for you guys because, we as a group and as individuals, I wanted to touch, and I'll try to be brief. I wanted to touch on something he said. That's why I'm so happy to have Brando and Knight and Drax and pretty much all of the folks that are here now, is because you've made it clear that you see the same vision we do, and that's what it is a vision of us being able to find ways. It is kind of like a family, right? Your family, you can't choose them, and they have their idiosyncrasies, but if you find a way to work with them and you can work towards a common goal, it's just rewarding on a personal level as well as the success that we see as a guild. And that's what we have at heart. We're very passionate about making Grey Moon work within the context of Arcade, and it's a unique game, and as he said, we have the opportunity to be the best guild, not the best guild on our server, but we have the opportunity to be the best guild. So I just wanted to kind of follow up with what he had said on that, because he kind of speaks for all of us in that regard. We're here because not for our personal, and it's not about ego, it's about us doing awesome. So Employee of the Month, please nominate. Please go into length about why you think that person. And helpful is a good word. Lots of people are helpful. One of the things we love to see is that no one ever is left hanging. Somebody asks a question, whether it's in TeamSpeak or in Guild Chat, and you see that nobody responds at all within a period of time, even an I'm not sure or a hint who they could look to or where they might be able to go to find the answer, makes us that step that he was talking about. We're just a little bit smoother and a little bit more welcoming than other guilds, which as Brando said, that's the distinction. That's what sets us apart and what makes us what we are. So in closing, for this month, there have been some nominations. For those who did do the nominating, we appreciate it. We read them. It's not something that's shared, so just so you know, it's fairly an anonymous process. I don't even think that it shows up immediately as far as who sent that nomination. From what I looked at, I mean, I read them, but it doesn't. I'm not sure if there's any link back other than maybe in the code somewhere that says who did it. So I will do some further research on that, but we always like the feedback, especially the positive, and that's kind of the way we like to do things. If it's positive, make it a public statement. If it's negative, do it in private. That's one of the biggest things that we've had issue with in the past, and something we want to stress moving forward is if there's something that has to do with any conflict at all, especially if it has to do with another guild member, but even if it has to do with, let's say that you're very unhappy because Hawking is making you sign up for another website. That's not something that we would really like you to post on the forums. It's negative, and we understand that and we value your opinion. It's not that we don't want to hear you, but we don't want that to distract us from the positive and the solutions that we're trying to move forward with. But we always appreciate and should always all be open to feedback. Officers, directors, mounts, pets, everyone involved in this process has to be open to feedback and say, hey, you could do it this way. Don't make it about ego. Look at things in a rational and reasonable way. And that's how we work with each other. And, for those who are new, we're very glad to have you. And I think that you were probably attracted for what we want to do. And, those who have been with us for a while, this is, look around. This is, if you're on the Alpha server, this is what we managed to accomplish in a very brief period of time. It almost seems like a blur now how quickly we just hit that critical mass and we're just able to make stuff. It was an amazing, and not only was it amazing able to fund things and make gold and sell stuff, but it was amazing in the amount of fun that we had along the way, because it just became like, I would equate it to, I don't know if anyone has ever played Canasta, but for an old person's game, it's actually an awesome card game. It's really, really challenging and fun. And when you get a good partnership going in a card game, and that or spades, and you just kind of get that rhythm, it's one of the best experiences I've had in an MMO in my life. So appreciate everyone coming. Again, if you want to give us feedback on the meeting or you have specific questions, if you want to do it privately, that's fine, but we encourage you to use the comment section there so that everyone can see any updates or responses. Did anyone here have anything that is related to the topics that we've covered today that you would really like to clarify, or was there anything that we didn't cover that you guys have questions about related to basically like beta? I'm glad that I said that. The beta thing, please play on beta. If the beta server is up, play on beta. The beta server is NEMA. Even if you don't want to progress your character, if you want to go as far as to get your small crow and come plant it down in the HQ area, there is space available as well as some placeholders. Obviously, the reason for this is because there are people who can't play on the alpha server during beta events. So we would like to accommodate them, as well as use the beta server as a practice. You guys can see where we're set up. You can participate in where we designate to be where we put all of the farmhouses or all of the large crows, or how we set up our HQ. Love the feedback. If you want to get involved in the zoning committee, please do. But yes, please on the beta, play on the beta server. If you just don't want to play there, we would really appreciate it if you would at least log on once in a while during the course of the beta events, once a day, twice a day, just to integrate those people who can only access that server during that time, and especially for events. So before I start talking again, I'll reopen it up to anyone have questions or feedback?
I've actually got a question.
Okay.
For when the launch happens, kind of towards the middle, like this, how Brand was talking about the second phase, are we allowed to do 2 different combat roles instead of just being like, for say I'm a tank, do I have to stay a tank?
You can always swap, but that's actually a good question and something we should clarify. When we're asking the new version, okay, so what will probably happen is we will be able to give each person both of their craft proficiencies, since we're going on the assumption that you can take 2 to maximum. I'm not sure if they updated that. Somebody said something about getting 4. We can't track that many. We can track 1 or 2. You can always change those, and I actually have built, I know it sounds silly, but I've actually built with a test of the new version of what we could use for a website, an application to make it easy for, say, Knight or Kalli, so that you would actually fill out a form and say, my current role is X, please change it to X. Submit my request. So if you want to change your role, you absolutely can, and you can kind of do it on the fly. But just like with your crafting proficiency, we ask that you just pick your one. If you had to pick one that was your favorite, if you were stuck playing one role all the time, what would it be? And that at least allows us to categorize people based on what they want to do when they're playing, and so we don't pigeonhole people into roles that they don't enjoy. So that would be good feedback for the security division as a whole, and probably NightRhaven to set that system up and better define it if necessary. But just in general, that's what that's what your role is, whether it's your craft specialty or your combat role. Is just your number one choice, and we'll sort out the others. Anybody else have anything? Awesome. Well, we kept you long enough. We appreciate you being patient and showing up and listening. And hopefully we will see everyone refreshed and on the beta server tomorrow at some point. Again, if you're just getting started on beta, get with us to get your guild invite ASAP. And we have all of the materials for you for your first trade pack quest to get your donkey, etc. So if you want to join us on there, we'll make sure that you get set up right away and get cranking. So thanks again, and we will catch up with you guys soon.
Dun dun dun.
There's a
Enlightening.
There's like a burlesque show coming on in 5 minutes, so if y'all want to stay for that, that's cool.
Wait, what's going on?
I think I should let him know.
I actually need to jump up and get dinner and feed the dog. I got her out, but I didn't feed her yet. But I will be on for a little bit. So if people want to hang out and socialize and whatever, I'll be back in probably half hour or so.
Same.
Otherwise, I'll be
Otherwise,
I'll be in the break room.
User left your channel. User left your channel. User left your channel.
Thanks, everyone.
User left your channel.
This was awesome.
User left your channel.
Yep, it's good to see everybody. I haven't seen a lot of people on in a while, so this is nice.
So are we all just hanging out here or what?
User disconnected from your channel.
I don't know.
I know, this feels like, we're in the conference room, so I feel like, after a meeting's over, this is when y'all, everybody, breaks off into little groups in the conference room and just, chit-chats in the corner.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, is this like one of those times where, you don't do anything, actually related to the thing you were just talking about?
User disconnected from your channel.
That's what it feels like.
But it's not a bad feeling.
Not at all.
This was an amazingly organized thing. I've never been in a guild that's been quite this organized. It's a little scary.
I love it.
Oh wow. Sorry, I'm watching someone roll by in southern white art in a tractor, and I'm just it just rolled by me. I was like, oh, that's interesting.
Everyone in here is so quiet. Y'all are so quiet.
Shh.
Yeah, I don't think it's
hunting
ever
the
really been this quiet
newbies.
before.
Cow goes.
Quack.
Wow. You're the wow. You're sort of fired if you don't know what the cow goes.
No, because if you start singing "What Does the Fox Say," I'm gonna have to come over there and punch you.
Ring ding ding.
Oh boy.
So I am waiting for the scarecrow garden to go into non-protection. So
There's
I
a
can
scarecrow?
Oh, there's a bunch.
They finally starting to drop off.
Yeah, tomorrow is the majority of them, though.
This one
User
drops
left
off
your
in
channel.
about 14 minutes.
Awesome.
Wow, there's all these quests over here. Sorry, I'm over in southern white art, and I'm like, oh my god, there's all these quests I didn't know were over here.
Yeah, White Arden is kind of the zone you just skip over because it's so boring.
Well, actually, it's in 2 crowns technically, but the map thingy has it labeled as Southern White Arden. So if you look at the big map at the overworld map, it's definitely in 2 crowns. But the little sub map, mini map, has the label above, and it's like Southern White Arden. I'm like, what?
That's awkward.
Yeah, part of it's like, so where am I? Am I in, this one place, or am I in someplace else?
You're in another dimension.
Clearly. So is it just me, or do you? Because I don't have any of the loyalty points, or not the loyalty tokens. The whatchamacallits,
The gems?
Did
Yeah.
you spend them on beta?
No.
That's weird.
Nope, they're not working right now because I don't have any either.
Okay.
Yeah,
So I'm not crazy.
There's something wrong with the marketplace, and they're doing something with it. So yeah, everyone's credits are 0.
I ran out of coffee, and I'm sitting here debating whether or not I should brew some more.
Where'd you go?
I flew up to the roof.
Oh, I logged off and I'm gonna log back on because I set my graphics settings back down. They were a little too high, and they were kind of driving me crazy.
Everything was chugging?
Yeah, really badly. Which is weird because, they have the settings that change while you're logged on and the settings that don't. Well, I had all my settings on really high because I was taking pictures earlier. So I turned them down and it got worse.
What happened to me?
Because you need to restart. Because if you tweak them sometimes, it actually does get worse.
Okay, that makes sense then.
What time does beta start tomorrow?
10 a.m. Pacific.
Oh god, I'm stuck between some person's trade packs. It's in front of HQ.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Do you have a glider? You can usually glider out sometimes.
It's not even letting me jump.
Yeah, I've been in one of those situations before.
Yeah, like, I was just screwing around and then I jumped in it and now I can't get out. I'm just gonna switch characters and then I'll probably be okay.
What is up with these quests now requiring me to kill 15 of these 15 monsters?
I
And
hate
it
having
taking
those.
forever.
Did everybody notice they finally added the farm wagon expansion ticket on the marketplace?
No, they didn't.
Yes, they did.
Woohoo! I guess I probably, need to get a farm wagon first. But that's still
That'd probably
exciting.
help.
Yeah.
They still haven't done the one for the farms yet, though. That's the one I'm waiting for.
The one that expands the 16 by 16 to a 24?
Yep.
Yeah, that one's going to be awesome.
All right, if I don't cook dinner, my wife's going to brain me, so I will be AFK for a bit.
Go cook dinner.
User left your channel.
Which zones are tropical?
The lower half of the map, the lower 3 ones. Oh, I think it's only 2, the lower 2. The contested ones. I don't know, I can't think of the other word for the word contested right now.
Battlegrounds?
Yeah, those things.
War zones, something like that.
Yeah, war zones, those work. Yeah, it's the lower 2 on the map. Because we've only got 2 tropical zones. We've got tropical, temperate, and
arid.
No, freezing.
Arid.
No,
arid.
We don't have. It's arid? It's not arid.
Where do we have freezing zones?
The very top one, the Carcassi Ridgelands. Arctic, that's the word I was looking for. Arctic. We have Arctic, tropical, and temperate.
No, it's subarctic. Get it right.
My bad. Subarctic. Almost Arctic.
It's a very, very detailed detail. You gotta get it right, otherwise it doesn't count. That's why I'm being so harsh.
Yeah, we get lucky though because we've got we don't have the arid.
Why did? Oh, is that on the other continent?
Yeah.
Right.
Yes, they've got arid, temperate, and tropical. All right, I'm gonna go check out all these farms and see when they're all leaving.
8 minutes for this one.
Ooh.
Where are
Although
you?
I think
Where
it's
is
in the
it?
first stage where you have to like beat it into whatever, and they have some time to.
Pay it still?
Yeah.
No, if it says missed payment demolition, there's no more time after that.
No, it says protected until.
Oh, yep, nope, it's not going down yet.
But should I do? Will we need to do something to it once it comes out of protection?
Yeah, you just have to hit it.
Okay, cool. Oh, I'm gonna hit it in 8 minutes.
There's 2 over here that are going down tomorrow at 12:21.
Yeah, I have to work all day tomorrow. Stupid work.
User left your channel. User left your channel.
There's a house going down too. One of these lovely cottages. Uh-oh, it's Arian's house. Uh-oh.
User joined your channel. Disconnected.